Clark asked me to speak a little bit about him, to introduce him. It's a real honor. It's a privilege. It's a really small gesture in the bid to make some changes, and that's what Clark is here to do. He's explained to me, and it's in the pamphlet that I encourage all of you to take with you on your way out, that $11 billion more is spent than what's taken in by our current decision makers. Exactly. And speaking of our audience, we've got some great folks here, some public servants, Franch Hotchkiss, Dan Secor, Joe Armendariz. Please raise your hands. Thank you for what you do. But Clark is here to bring a fresh, engaging approach to Congress. Comes with Midwestern values, and he's seasoned here in California. And I think if we all rally around him and we all take responsibility, we can see him in office later this year, representing us. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Clark Van Deventer, inside joke, for Congress.
I appreciate it, John. Hey, thank you all. Come on, crowd on in here. Thank you all for being here. Really, really appreciate everyone being here today. My name is Clark Van Deventer, and I am your next congressman. I first came to Santa Barbara 10 years ago, right around the time Lois Capps was breaking her pledge to only fill out her husband's term, to not seek re-election. In those 10 years, our national debt has grown from about $5 trillion to more than $12 trillion today. Since Lois Capps last faced re-election, just over a year ago, we are $2 trillion in debt more. Okay, that's more and more debt being added to the backs of our children and grandchildren, my family, my son, my daughter. $11 billion a day. That's what this government today is spending every day above what we take in. Now, while Lois Capps has been on her spending spree, I was in training. Now, I first came out to Santa Barbara 10 years ago, and for 8 years I had the unbelievable experience of a lifetime and being able to walk every day in the footsteps of Ronald Reagan. I spent 8 years at the Reagan Ranch. In those years, you know, I gave a few of my own speeches, but I listened to literally hundreds of speeches on history, economics, on public policy, every facet of public policy you can imagine. I hosted over 500 private visits at the Reagan Ranch where I was able to talk with regular folks and men and women who've worked at the highest levels of government, business, public affairs, about real issues of success and failure, trial and error, victory and defeat. And from these people, I learned incredible lessons. Most importantly, I learned about leadership. I learned what it is to lead. And you know what? I've spent almost my entire life involved in, interested in, working on public policy issues. But a year ago, for the first time in my life, I was ready to quit. I was ready to throw in the towel. Because what we needed to do felt like stopping a moving train. But it was actually more than that. It was more than stopping a moving train. We needed to move it in a whole new direction. And it was a daunting task. It remains a daunting task. And I came to a position where I was ready to say, forget it. You know what? I'm going to build a business. I'm going to raise my kids. I'm going to enjoy life, come what may. You know, the country's going to hell in a handbasket, and I'm just going to enjoy life. But there are two problems with that approach. One is, I've got too much skin in the game. You know, I'm a young guy. I've got a young family. I can't sit idly by and watch the country be destroyed because I've got too much skin in the game. For me, the options were to check out, to walk away from the table, or to double down. Ladies and gentlemen, today I have doubled down. I am running for Congress because the future of this country is my future. I'm running for Congress because I want my kids to grow up in a free and prosperous society. And I am running for Congress because I believe that people of this district are increasingly coming to believe what I have for a long time, and that is that Lois Capps is a nice person who's totally not up for the job. Now, if you take a walk down State Street, you'll see the signs of the times: empty storefronts, victims of a dismal economy, and politicians who are totally out of touch and unaware of the reality that their decisions affect the lives of real human beings. But you likely don't need to take a walk down State Street, because I look around this audience and I see the faces of friends. Some of you, I'm looking at, I know you've been out of work, some of you for months. I'm looking at friends who have businesses, own businesses, and you're barely hanging on. I mean, you're gasping for air. Well, it's a tough situation. You know, the 23rd District, the Tri-County areas, we've lost tens of thousands of jobs in the last several months. Tens of thousands of jobs. But we are going to experience one more job loss. One more. This November, with your help, Lois Capps will lose hers. Now, I'm not running for Congress to be a part of the party of no. I'm not running to be a mere obstructionist. I want to get things done. I want to empower Americans who are overtaxed, overregulated, and overburdened by a government that is sucking the life out of this country. And I believe we can do it, and I believe we will. And I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to fight for you. Now, over the next several months, I am participating in the most important job interview of my life. I'm interviewing for the job of representing you, the people of this district, in the United States House of Representatives. And I pledge to you that I'll never forget that you are the ones who do the hiring. And I pledge to you that I'll be accessible, and that I'll listen, and I'll go to work and I'll fight for you. Now, you can't walk in the footsteps of Ronald Reagan as long as I did without hearing his words at a moment like this. 30 years ago, he said to us, "Our time is now. Our moment has arrived. We stand together, shoulder to shoulder, in the thickest of the fight. If we carry the day and turn the tide, we can hope that as long as men speak of freedom and those who have protected it, they will remember us. And they will say, 'Here are the brave, and here are their place of honor.'" Look, we have a big job ahead of us, but I believe we can do it. I believe we can do it with your help. I need you out there with me on the campaign trail, because together we can do it. So, join the fun, join the movement, join Crew Clark. Thank you very much.